Welcome to Straight Outta Jersey. Today's podcast is brought to you by Ace Sunglasses. Go to acesunglasses.com.au to purchase some of the best shades around. Use promo code MRG30 and receive 30% off selected brands.
Straight Outta Jersey with Jersey Jay-Z. With the Freak of New York, Gregg Valentino. And your host, Jersey Jay-Z.
What's up, guys? We are live. It's Thursday, and I got here. He's an hour ahead this time. Gregg Valentino, what's up, my brother?
That was fucking funny, but not funny, I guess. I thought I was getting on normal time, and I see George on there and your brother George. And then you guys like, wait, you're late. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm late? It's fucking not even. And then I look and I'm like, wait a minute. Holy fuck. I didn't realize. But we still got an hour. And that
we still got an hour in there. A little more than that, everything. So what's going on? We have some people there. CH, what's up? What's up, Greg and Joe? What's going on?
There he is.
Marcos, what's going up? What's up, Marcos? Biggest Momos. Hey, Momos. John Mancini. What's going on? We're going to talk about the Liver King stuff, but I want to get some house cleaning out of the way. First, my brother George is at UFC 317. He's doing a lot of the interviews, a lot of big things happening. So between me and my brothers, you're going to see a lot of great things happening. Also, I am going to be doing a wrestling show with actually a pro wrestler who was in the WWE. He was the headbanger, won tag team championship. Me and him are going to be doing a show probably on Mondays. We haven't got the details set, but he's a WWE wrestler. He loves what I do. And, I want to thank you, Greg, because you're actually the one that kicked it off for all of us in the beginning, because we had nobody.
No, it was fun. It was fun. Doing George's podcast. The first podcast was actually a very great podcast. I remember talking about my father getting emotional.
Yeah, getting emotional and everything.
It was good. Yeah, but, I'm happy for George, because he earned this shit and he deserves it. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he kicks ass out there. Dana White loves him. So
Dana White,
that's a beautiful
he's with Joe
right
Rogan.
Kevin Iole, loves George. That's a big
George a lot. That might be handing over the keys of the kingdom. So we'll see.
Good for George, man. I'm happy for him. It couldn't happen to a better guy, man. I love your brother George.
Yeah, so it's really good and everything. So Greg, obviously, we're talking about Joe Rogan. Obviously, you heard about Liver King, right?
Right. I was texting everybody. I couldn't believe that shit. Joe, he's on drugs. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Joe, there's something wrong. If you watch him like talking out, you know what's funny? There's people like Joe, what's that guy's name? The actor, the guy that played like Wild Bill, whatever. You remember in like the streets of New York, the street five. What the hell is one with Leonardo?
I know who you're talking about. Tom Sizemore.
No, not Tom Sizemore. Remember he played like Buffalo Bill or Wild Bill or whatever. They used to use that steak knife, and he fucking was fighting Leonardo DiCaprio in the end of the movie. Come on, guys, help me out with that fucking one red shoe.
Jesus, who was that guy? I forgot.
Oh God, very famous actor. Anyway, they used to say that when and even Johnny Depp too. They used to say that when these guys take roles, that even when they be sitting there, like after like be eating dinner and shit with the rest of the cast, he'd be like, hand me some mustard. Like Johnny Depp would be talking like this, like Johnny. We're out. We're out of fucking costume here. We're sitting around. We're just eating dinner, and he'd be like, please pass me the grape upon. Like. They actually get into the fight and they can't get out. Well, I think that Liver King has bullshitted so many people with so much shit that he's stuck. Because if you ever saw videos of Brian Johnson, the Liver King, before, he was talking normal. And now, with the 5 tenets and all this shit. And he's still talking about that shit. Yeah. Bro, you're talking about cavemen shit and eating fucking food naturally. Meanwhile, they show you shooting guns and shit, you know. And there's and I don't steroids aren't natural to cavemen, number one. Number two, dude, that dude's got it in his eyes. He's fucking doing the like other babanya.
Something's going on. His eyes were dilated really bad in the video.
Bro, he's gone. They show videos of him talking, and he's nuts. He's actually I think he's stuck in that role that he can't get himself out. Like that actor. There's a few actors like that.
Daniel Day-Lewis? John Mancini said, was it
Daniel Day-Lewis. Thank you, John Mancini. I knew John would come back. Yes, John, thank you. Daniel Day-Lewis. They said that he would, every time he does a movie, he gets caught in that character, and they say he becomes a motherfucker. Like, you can't even talk to him. Like, dude, I'm just talking normal to you. Did you watch the Yankees last night? No, I did not watch the Yankees. Why would I watch the Yankees? You'd be like, dude, simmer down with that shit. You know what I mean?
Simmer down. He'd be like, screw that, But yeah, apparently, like I said, he threatened Joe Rogan, went to Joe Rogan's house in Texas.
Right.
And the problem was the video he was threatening, he was holding guns.
Joe Rogan Take the River King, take that matted fucking rug down there and wipe his ass with it. Come on, stop with that shit. And you know what's funny though? He actually believes, like Palumbo was saying, I saw recently where he thinks like, no, it's all an act. He's trying to do it. It's not an act. He was like, you're not getting arrested for. He actually said that it's my family that's in jeopardy. I'm fighting for my family. Well, how are you fighting for your family? I never heard Joe Rogan once say, I'm going to attack his family or whatever that shit is. It's not your family, bro. You haven't lost a penny. You're still fucking so rich. You're shitting fucking dollar bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What people don't understand out there is that him, Andrew Tate, I like Andrew, so simmer down. It's not like I'm against him. But those guys hire marketing teams that actually, they go around to all of social media, create 20 different fucking profiles that actually pump these guys up and make it like, Andrew Tate's doing it. They do that shit. He hired him. Watch the video of the Liver King, the movie. It's all an act, but he can't get out of that character. Even when he was getting arrested, there's 11 tenants. Get out of here with that shit.
He's horrible. He just, I don't know what's going on with him. He's just useless now.
No, but he's really Joe. He's really fucking caught.
Yeah,
You know what? We haven't heard. Have you heard anything from Joe Rogan? Has he made a comment about this at all?
Like I was telling people, my brother's at UFC 317. He's there with Dana White and Joe Rogan's there. Joe Rogan wants nothing to do with him. Nothing. He's like, he's nothing I concern myself with.
I know that, but I can only imagine. Listen, let me tell you something. If he ever approached Rogan, first of all, Rogan's got is a super hunter, got guns. So if you come at him with a gun, you're probably going to get fucking killed. Second of all, he is a real fighter. He's not going to fucking take some nut job that's running around. And Joe, I heard I don't know if this is true, but I heard that guy would chew like that meat and shit. And then you never see him swallow it. He would spit that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know. It's probably true with that guy. Windward attacks at all the raw meat gave Liver King parasites in the brain. It's possible.
Windward.
Yeah. But Joe Rogan he has better things to do than worry about this guy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's not the only nut job that.
And at this point, I'd like to see Joe Rogan choke him out. I mean, I wouldn't mind.
But see, what you just said is what Palumbo was saying, that he thinks like that's a ploy to get this into a fight where Joe, where he says, you know what, Rogan, I'll fight you in the ring. And Rogan's like, Rogan ain't going to do that. But I can guarantee if you showed up at Rogan's business or his house, you're going to be in serious trouble.
John Saldi, our boy John. What's up, John? Hope
Johnny,
you're feeling better.
What are you doing, John Saldi?
Guys, Rogan would roundhouse kick him into space. Yes, he would.
He would. He really would.
The biggest Momo said Dave just posted a 4-minute video on Gregg's steakhouse rant.
My steakhouse rant? I got to see that. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, so you returned from Alabama. How was that trip, Gregg?
It was good. I mean, I had a good time out there with the guys. It's always fun. Larry's actually a really good guy. I got along really well with him. Armand's a big motherfucker in person. Yeah.
Larry seems
you can't really tell. Larry, Larry's actually a good-looking guy. Not for nothing. I'm not trying to be funny, but he's got really blue eyes. He looks younger in person, so you can't tell. I think it's because he's always looking down. When we do videos, he's actually a very good guy. To be honest with you, I'm not just blowing smoke up his ass.
He just seems like a very quiet person.
He is a very quiet guy. He's very quiet. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's not, but of course, I had a great time with Jimmy, but Armand's a big motherfucker, bro. Fucking big, bro. I didn't think he is big. My legs are big, but he's twice he is big. He's a monster. The guy was like almost 280 out there. You know what I mean? And he's a big fuck. But the thing is, when you don't eat and you're all day, and then you got Dave bringing you to a fucking vegan place, and then, if you saw the video, he asked, well, how's the food taste? I said, well, yeah, the owner was right there. So I was trying to talk low, and I was like, it tastes like shit. You know what I'm saying? It tastes like, you like it. I don't know what the steakhouse rant is. I'm afraid to watch. I'm afraid to watch the fucking video. I have no idea what it is. I don't remember. They took so much fucking video that I don't fucking remember what I said or when I said it or who I said it with. You know what I mean? I'm scared to fucking even watch the video because God knows what the hell's on there.
Yeah.
But it was fun, it's fun. I'm more happy for your brother George, to be honest with you. Like go out there with the, because that's a big thing.
A lot of people will be hearing our names, me and my brothers, because George is now going to be hooked into UFC, and you're going to be seeing him. He's there. A lot of great things happening for me and my brothers. I couldn't, imagine. And Greg, you helped us start this whole thing, so I appreciate you.
Listen, all I did was do the interviews with you guys, but it was great. I'm great. Your brother's a great guy. You know what I mean? I'm rather see him concentrate on this than trying to fight again. You get to what happens is just like when like Dave will tell you, try to make a comeback. First of all, I haven't competed since the mid-80s, so that's a long fucking time ago. Even when he was trying to get Lee to compete, it's a long time. You can't just, let me tell you something. As good as Kai Green is, right? If Kai Green tried to get himself in shape and compete right now, he hasn't competed in like 15 or more years. He would probably get killed. I'm just saying. And then you lose the mystique that you have. Look at Flex Wheeler when he tried to come back. You just lose that mystique. It's better to be known for your era and what you did and what you accomplished already, So that's why I'm saying with your brother George, he did all his boxing. He's going to turn 50. Now it's time for him to take advantage of this new opportunity.
Yeah. He actually just sent me a picture, him on where he's the red carpet of UFC.
All I see is symbols.
Yeah, that's the red carpet of UFC. He's there behind the line. He's waiting for them to go. They're going to go walk on that. It's the red carpet, but he was there getting everything ready for that. So he's there doing everything.
Is he there with his wife? Is he there?
Yes. Yeah, he's there. Good. And you know who paid for her ticket?
Oh,
Dana White. Dana White.
Yeah, good.
George was like, so Dana White paid for George.
Well, Dana White likes George.
Yes.
Dana White likes George, your brother George, and that's a listen, that's huge, right? And nothing but Kevin Aioli's Dana White's boy. That's his right hand man. And Kevin Aioli saying, listen, I might want to step out of this, so George might take my place. So that would be great. That would be phenomenal for George. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Dean says mad cow disease, maybe with Liver King.
No, I don't think it's that. I honestly think he does to Bobanya. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Yeah, Brian Pablo, our friend Brian. Liver King really never really appealed to me. Don't like how he took thousands from fans. That's true.
Yeah, I don't like that either. But I mean, like the whole act, the 11 tenants and 12 tenants and the fucking, whatever. I don't get that. I mean, that whole shit is.
Luciano, what's going on, Luciano?
Hey, Luciano, what's going on, my brother? Why would you want to live like a caveman anyway? I mean, didn't we evolve?
Yep, exactly.
Cavemen didn't use guns and shit like that, or take steroids.
No. John Mancini said he wants to bring back his fame. I think that's what it is. He lost a lot of his fame. He doesn't know what to do and his money. He lost some money.
But I honestly think he lost his marbles with all that shit. I want to, do you know that they had like a thing where they were actually threatening Johnny Bravo and people like that who did videos like, you're a piece of shit, I'm coming for you. So, like, you got to watch what you do. You're going to wind up in jail, and then you know what happens? You stick that guy in jail where he can't take steroids and he's not going to be eating no liver there. I can tell you that. Maybe liverwurst, fake liverwurst. So you know what's going to happen? You're going to see Pee Wee Herman.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you that now. The Babania, and if you're in Club Fed, you could lift weights. But if you're not in Club Fed, bro, you're going to be like fucking skinny mini.
Yep. Mike G, he said how a quick Liver King was arrested shows what happens when you mess with Trump's friends. If Rogan was a regular guy, the cops wouldn't give a shit about.
No. It has nothing to do with the fact that Rogan's. Mike G, I love you, but that sounds like liberal talking. That's not true. You can't. First of all, you go online and you start talking shit online, and you didn't stop. He's made a bunch of videos, not one, but like 20. It wasn't a quick arrest. They waited for him. Dude, you go and
holding guns in his hand.
You fly to somebody's house, you go do all that shit. You're in trouble, especially when it comes to celebrities. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you something. If that was a Biden and he threatened him, he would have been arrested a long time ago after his first video. So I disagree with you with that. Rogan's not friends with Trump like that.
Dean said, ask Greg if he did a Mile High enema. Did you go in the bathroom? And, no?
Well, no, I used my enema out there. Of course, I always use it, but I didn't do one of those. There's a difference between those that's like just a small little enema that does basically cleans out your colon. I don't do that fucking high colonic enema, which I would like to do, but I hate to tell you, most of the bodybuilders do that. Most of your pros do that shit. And some of them swear they lose an inch off their waist because that shit, you have to go to a doctor for that. A machine shoots water up your ass and it just keeps pumping it. And your stomach comes out to here and then the machine pulls it out. Like pulls the shit out of your ass, the water out. And they say that your fucking gut goes right down like this. And all kinds of stuff come out of there. Shit you haven't eaten in fucking 3 years. But
I ain't doing that shit.
No. I might like it. Do it again.
Yeah. See, he said, do you think Armand is only on TRT?
I don't know. We don't talk when us guys are together. The one thing I can tell you is we don't talk about steroids. I've been with Lee Priest a gazillion times. Never once do we talk about steroids. I'm with Jimmy the Bull. I know Jimmy the Bull since 1991. Never talked about. We don't talk about steroids. When we talk about normal shit that guys talk about, just normal shit. Food, ass, girls. My wife did this, my girlfriend did that, whatever. Just normal shit.
Brian said Liver King looks huge, but he's more ripped than that. Yes. Gives him the illusion of being huge.
Brian Pablo, you hit the nail on the head. That guy's got like 15-inch arms. They're just ripped. He's all like basically pecs, abs, and they're ripped though. They're very ripped. I gotta give him that. But that, if you're taking every fucking substance, you know what I'm saying? You're mixing growth with IGF and you're timing insulin and you're doing all this other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? On top of that shit. You're going to get that kind of result. But when you throw that motherfucker on a desert island, you come back 2 weeks later, he'd be looking like Tom Hanks after that movie. He'd be skinny and shit because, don't you lose all that shit.
I heard he messes with that stuff, that drug that killed Andy.
Remember? Ibogaine?
Yes, I heard he messes with that stuff. That's what I heard.
Can I tell you something? All those things are like depressants and like not like downers, like they make you like It's like in heroin and all that shit. I don't know, if I was a drug addict, I'd be a cokehead or a crackhead or something, because I like to feel awake. Nothing that makes me lethargic, like smoking weed, shit. Like I would never do that shit. I don't like anything that makes you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Small said, I heard Liver King say he weighs 177 pounds.
Yeah, I saw that. But, he's not a big guy. If you saw him stand next to cops, he's like me. He's probably like 5'6", like I am. So he's not real tall. And, he's not big. With a shirt on, when he puts a T-shirt on, he doesn't have any like, broad shoulders. He looks like just a somewhat muscular guy. He doesn't look like jacked or anything. And he's got no legs, bro.
CH said, why isn't Dave uploading the seminar footage?
I have no idea. I don't know what. First of all, listen, CH, let me just tell you something. There is no seminar. I mean, what you would call seminar was nothing. There's no seminar. We didn't sit there and talk about, one person. I was sitting next to Larry, Jimmy. They asked Jimmy a few things. I couldn't hear what he was saying because the fucking speaker in there and shit. But it wasn't giving any information on training or anything like that. They asked us a few little stupid things. And then finally I said, listen, I think Larry, because Larry was sitting next to me and I could tell he was like, he wanted to say something, I said, I had the microphone. I said, here, Larry. So Larry said, does anybody here have a question on bodybuilding? I mean, we're supposed to be doing a seminar. Does anybody have a bodybuilding question? And that chick said to him, oh yeah, I want to know, is it good to pump? This is the only question. One question. Is it true that it's bad to pump your legs up before you go out on stage? And Larry said, well, yes, because it can blur the definition and hide the split. I do pretty good, Larry, by the way, if you heard him in person. And they were saying that like it would smooth the legs out. Larry was saying that. But that was the only fucking question. You know what I mean? Because even Larry was like, me and Larry were talking a little bit. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Because it was no seminar. It's like a bullshit. It's like we just get up there and we talk, it was like talking shit. And then, Larry's like, well, I thought we were doing a seminar. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be doing a seminar and we didn't. So.
John Saldi said, hey guys, your boy Johnny Bravo is great with his internet jerk off reports. Love his videos.
Yeah, I love Johnny too. I love doing that fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like when my girlfriend
Ghost from PA said, what did you think about Donald Trump saying F-bomb?
I love that.
I love great.
And what's funny too? He's wearing a baseball hat when he does fucking. What president have you ever seen wearing like a baseball hat? It says MAGA on, of course. But he's so different from everybody else.
Did you see that meme that was going around of like Abraham Lincoln said like 7 years ago, and then like the other one said fear yourself, a country, and then it went to Trump saying they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah, like they're breaking all the famous quotes from every president.
But it's true. Trump. See that means he's a real guy, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know how many of these guys you ever watch? I mean, I did the movie Bigger, Stronger, Faster. One of the biggest impactful scenes is when I say sometimes the guy you see in public who's got the finger up here has got the middle finger under the table. What you see is what they want you to see, but it's not really what they say. There's guys who will tell you got the middle finger in their pocket, sitting there going, you know what, you're the best. I love you, bro. Meanwhile, they're like, fuck you. You know, do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like Arnold with the screw your freedoms. I mean, finally Arnold came out and did say about like the immigrants saying, listen, you're a guest here. do the right thing. You know, I mean, come here and, you know, we're giving you all the shit. You got to give back now. You got to do something and give back. Finally, you know what I mean? But still, he's, you know, those guys say what they want you to hear. They're like this, but underneath the table, they're like this. I'm just saying. And Donald Trump's not like that. I like the fact that he throws F-bombs.
Luciano said, I think the Liver King contracted cirrhosis. He's no match for Greg's 30-inch arms.
I would have choked him out. No.
John Mancini, I wish George all the best. He would do great, Joe. I have faith in him.
George has got, you know, once he's got his foot already in the door. He's already in there. He's got both feet in the door.
Really. And thank all you guys and fans in the chat, everyone. We appreciate that. You're going to be seeing our name a lot. Yeah. There's a pot of name all over the place. All right. Thank you so much. Luciano, Liver King was exposed as a 4 years ago. That's cool. Yeah, that's true.
This is true.
100% true. Let me see. Winward Tag said, my sister is rich and she bought me 6 bottles of that Liver King liver powder and pancreas powder. She spent $300 on that crap. Talk about getting robbed. No wonder dude is rich as fuck. Wow. I can't believe that.
You can't. Yeah. I mean, I understand. Well, you know, Winmore, I give her credit because she's looking out for you. Okay. She's trying to help you so that they don't know any better. A lot of people believed all that shit. Listen to me. Your body, when it eats the liver, okay, it sees it as a nutrient dense food, but it still breaks. It's like people that take honey and they think, well, I'm not eating sugar. I'm eating honey. To my pancreas, honey is sugar. Do you understand? So when you take that shit, your body sees it as a protein. It's, you know, but a rich nutrient protein. But it's not like, you know, oh my God, you know, I'm eating liver now. Look at all this shit. There's enzymes in there that are good, but it's not like, you know, it's all bullshit.
John Mancini, hopefully George meets Trump with Dana. Well, he's already been with Dana many times. But Trump he hasn't met. So maybe it will happen.
You never know.
Mike G, Greg, how's the bidet, aka rim job machine?
Oh shit, I gotta hook it up. You know, I just got home, but that's John Scuderi sent me a bidet. It's right over here. It's on the floor over here. It's got a remote control. I gotta hook that fucking thing up. I'll use it when I don't use it to clean my ass. I'll use it as a water fountain. I gotta hook it up. But no, it's a good. Thank you, Mike G. Yes,
you got it. You crazy.
John Scuderi.
William Allen said, Mr. Liver looks so old, leather skin.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't understand what that is.
That's crazy, man.
Dude, that beard is fucking matted and shit. But I think he's going too far. I think that he snapped and he starts to believe, like he's assumed this, you know, even when he's telling his kids, probably like without the cameras on, to go to bed, be like, you need to get some sleep. You know, like, dude, get out of that shit. You're Brian Johnson, the dad, not, you know, you're not the liver. The kid, when I watched the movie and he shot that cow, they shot a cow and he went over and they cut the dead cow open and they're praying, thank you, cow, for this blessing and all this bullshit. And they cut a piece of the fucking, you know, their fucking piece of ligada, the cow or whatever off. And they tells the kid, here, eat this. And the kid takes a piece this big, and he puts it in his mouth. He's like this, you know? And the father then says to him, you want another piece? And the kid goes, no, I'm full. This big. But the kid even said, what is that like liquid coming out of the cow? Is that blood? Because, you know, there's not just blood, but, you know, you cut it stomach open, there's enzymes, there's, you know, digestive shit coming out of there. I mean, I don't know, but that would make me a fucking vegan. Believe me or not. I'd be back in fucking Alabama at that restaurant saying, give me that mushroom sandwich. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, if he lies to everyone about taking testosterone, taking steroids, he's going to be eating McDonald's and
if
bullshit.
You watch,
I'm
Joe,
sure.
You watched, if you know how you watched that submarine movie?
Yes, that was a great documentary.
You got to watch the Liver King movie, because basically they say that he hired a PR firm that went and pushed this and played the whole roll up. They were actually really pissed when they found that they believed he was natural. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. John Salty said, Joe, good for George, man. Every year in July, they do that International Week Expo in Vegas, similar to their own classic expo every time. Yep. And George is going to be there because Mark Kerr is being inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And The Rock is inducting Mark Kerr, and my brother's going to be there.
If George takes Kevin Aioli's place, if Kevin Aioli steps out, because that's what he's trying to do. Kevin Aioli's trying to say, look, I don't want to do this shit anymore. I just want to sit in the background. George, why don't you take my place? If George takes his place, he'll be at all the UFC events.
He'll be at every one.
You know, he'll be at all of them. Won't be just
Kevin Aioli is a Hall of Fame commentator. You know, he's been with Dana White forever. What did he say here? Brian said, hey, Greg, back in the golden era, were organ meats a thing with bodybuilding?
Yes.
Really? Organ meats were back in the day?
Some guys like Vince Gironda and shit believed in all that liver shit. Or I remember I took like desiccated liver. That was big. Arnold used to do that. I think in theory it's good. I mean, my mother used to eat all organ meats, and she died of pancreas cancer. So go figure. Okay, my mother was the best with that shit. My mother ate kidneys, liver. She believed in all that shit. My mom, and she died at a young age of pancreas cancer. So it didn't fucking listen to me. Well, you don't. First of all, we don't know today. All these cows and shit are fed hormones and all this other stuff. We don't know if they have disease and you're eating that shit, especially raw. It's not a good thing. There's a lot of things, salmonella, a lot of other shit that you can get from eating raw meats. I'm just telling you, there's parasites in that shit. You're not supposed to eat that shit, not raw. I mean, I'm just telling you, we've evolved. I get the whole, like, we're going to live like cavemen, Well, you're not really living like cavemen when you're living in a mansion that's air conditioned and shit. You're driving SUVs and quads, you're driving around on lawn shooting guns. And, that's not really the caveman way. Now, if you were living in a cave somewhere, lighting fucking sticks on fire and shit like that, and hunting with a fucking, stick that you made into a spear and shit like that, then maybe I'd say, wow, you're even more nuts than I thought. But I think it's a shtick, dude. He's playing it's just like, right. It's like, remember the movie, remember Rocky? I remember Sylvester Stallone when he did the movie Rocky 1. He said that when he would go out at night, sometimes guys would challenge him because they would actually believe he's the character Rocky. Like, yo, I'll fight you, Rocky. Come on, motherfucker. You know what I mean? There's people who, he's portraying, he's almost like an actor in a movie. And people bought into that shit, with all those supplements and all that. That shit's not going to do shit. You don't see Mr. Olympias or even natural bodybuilders who are great natural bodybuilders. You don't see them taking all that shit.
No. CH said, Greg, what do you think about Liver King uploading a video an hour ago saying he was a little suicidal? I didn't know he said that. I didn't know.
Well, wait a minute. You're a guy who supposedly you found the keys to life and all these. Is that the 12th tenet or the 13th tenet to want to kill yourself? I don't get it. You got a family that loves you. I don't want to see the Liver King kill himself. I think listen, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to make an admission right now. I'm going to admit something. I'm an asshole. Okay. Because I'm a schmuck. If Joseph Pot over here told me, Greg, you're not going to believe this, but I was on Morella, that's his girlfriend. I was on the roof of her house yesterday, and I just jumped off, and I started going like this, and I flew around. I would sit there and be like, Joe, that's a little crazy. And if he kept swearing to me, I'd go, but Joe doesn't bullshit me. Well, maybe he thought so I actually thought maybe there's a chance the Liver King, because I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. That's my biggest problem is that I give everybody, Valentino thinks everybody's a good guy. I do give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and that's a weakness of mine. So I was one of the people. It's not that I didn't buy into any of that shit. I just thought, well, maybe he does live a natural life where he eats nothing but raw meats, and he's just some guy that like has zero body fat, but he's not big. I always knew he wasn't big, but I actually bought a little bit into that. Not the supplement shit, not that he eats liver, but just the fact I'm thinking, well, maybe he's on a carnivore type thing, so he's really lean. So I kind of, I gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Brian Pablo, $20 super chat. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it.
What's going on? Thank you, my
brother.
Love and
support to you, Joe, Greg, and George. Been away for a while, as bumps. I had some bumps and shit in my life come to you, and you have had some. I can't see. Had to go past some unexpected hurdles.
Listen to me, Brian. There's not one fucking person on this channel here or in life that doesn't go through bumps. Even celebrities. The problem is that they can't handle when everything's handed to you and people are fanning you off all the time and telling you how great you are, and you have the slightest little bump in your life, it becomes a fucking giant mountain for you because you're used to everything being easy. Nothing in life is easy. That's what makes you stronger, is going through those bumps. You know what I'm saying? Say, welcome to our world. You got through it. I learned a long time ago, you can't bang your head against the wall over things that you have no control over. If it's one of those things, your girlfriend doesn't love you, you can sit there, bang your head like this off the wall, throw things, punch walls like an asshole, break your fucking head. But guess what? When you're all done and said, the situation is exactly the same. Nothing's changed. You just hurt your hand. She still doesn't love you. I'm not saying, Brian, that's your problem. But what I'm saying is, you got to just it's just part of life. It's the cycle of life. You got to sit there and say, okay, let me do whatever it is I got to do to get through this. And that's it. But to beat yourself up or want to hurt yourself or want to jump off a mountain, that's not going to fucking cure anything either. First of all, my luck, if I felt that way, I'd jump off a mountain. I'd wind up living, but being like fucking Stephen Hawking's in a fucking thing. What the fuck? Joe, what did I do? Joe,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. So just, ride the wave is what I tell everybody. Ride the wave.
There's always somebody in a worse situation than you. There could be no
There's
job.
somebody right now who will trade places with you in 2 seconds. There's somebody dying right now. They're dying. They have a disease that's about to take their life, okay? And they would say, oh, you think you got it bad? You lost your job, your wife, your bank account, whatever. I'll switch places with you. I can't. I'll take that any day of the week over what I have. There's always somebody. So you just got to remember that. Ride the wave. Ride the fucking wave. Do what you got to do, but don't punish yourself. That's not gonna do anything.
Every day you wake up, Brian, that's a win. You just keep going forward.
I ain't kidding.
John Mancini said, Greg, did you guys pull another prank on Dave with the bill at the hotel?
No, I didn't do that because Dave was not happy about that last week. And that was Lee's idea first. And Lee got me to do a lot of fucked up shit. But no, we didn't do that. I mean, I was pranking and busting his nuts all the time because he had that girl that he was training, you know what I'm saying? And there was things that she wasn't too happy with. So I would escalate that a little bit, just fucking around. I fuck around all the time. You have to know, Larry will tell you, holy shit. I was like, Larry's a trooper. Larry's a great guy. I actually have a really, really respect for Larry.
That was the first time you were really with Larry, right?
Yeah, the first time I met Larry. And he's actually a really good guy. I was taking, I was busting nuts really bad. And, but he knew, because he used to read he told me I used to read the Ramblin' Freak and laugh my ass off. So he knew, I'm the Ramblin', I play around, but I don't do anything to hurt anybody or like insult people. You know what I mean? I'm the first one to say I'm the ugliest fucking guy in the room. You know what I mean? And, but, I got gift of gab, so I can get ass because of that.
Yep.
But anyway.
John Solly said, Greg, Liver King looked like meth or crack.
Do you know, John, you know what? I was thinking the same fucking thing. I said, this guy's either on meth or crack or maybe both. He definitely does something. His face, dude, what the fuck was that shit on his face when he looked like he had fucking tree branches stuck to him and shit, and his nose was all fucking bloody, and it looked like he had already gotten a fight. Like, somebody bashed his face. I don't know what the hell that is. I think he's got some serious issues. I really do. And if his family really loved him, they would intervene and come out and be like, "Oh, dude, this whole Liver King shit. You made enough money, bro. You made enough money. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna, if you don't get out of that shtick that you're in, you're gonna wind up fucking either hurting somebody in your family, like do a fucking what was that wrestler, Joe, that fucking wiped out his whole family and then he killed himself.
Chris Benoit.
He's either going to pull a Chris Benoit and then everybody's going to blame, oh, see, it's all that liver and steroids. Get help. We don't want to see anything. I don't want to see anything happen to the guy. I don't dislike the guy. I don't like the shit he did. And I think that whole look is ugly to me. You know what I'm saying? You got that beard looks like it's got fucking creatures living in it and shit, Yep.
Ruben Sanchez, what's up, everybody? What's up, Ruben? How you been, buddy? We haven't seen you in a while. Dean says, yeah, I can't get the downers of painkiller thing.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, dude. Dean, same here, bro. I'm telling you, if God said to me, you have to be a drug addict, I say, well, then drop down some coke or crack or something that makes you awake, because I can't fucking do that shit. You know what I'm saying? I would never. I don't like the feeling of being tired or run down or just even like mellow like this. I'm never mellow. Never. And I'm not on drugs. You can imagine me on crack. Joe would have committed suicide if he was in the car with me. You know what I'm saying? And I could get fucking, I don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the car for 2 hours. I didn't need the radio. I just drove like this. And
he didn't need the radio. He had me blessed in his ear. He was wide awake. He was never so awake in his life.
You remember the Charlie Brown show? I was like, oh, okay, great. And then he's just like, stop here, I got to pee. I'm like, okay.
I remember that. I told him 6 times, Joe, listen to me, you have a nice car, Joe. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I tell you I have to shit, you pull over, I'll shit on the side of the road, on the side of your car. But if you don't pull over, Joe, I'm going to shit my pants in your car, and we're not going to get the smell out of there. So Joe's like, Greg, just tell me if you have to shit, I'll pull over. Because
right over.
In my car.
Brian said, John Mancini, dude, the guy has surgical implanted abs. I've heard that before. That he had abs.
I heard that. I don't know if that's true. He has such low body fat. Guys, you have to listen to me. Understand one thing. I tell these fucking kids in the gym this shit too. All right. When you're sitting there doing, like, I see guys, with the heavy dumbbells and they're doing the side bends or they're taking heavy weights and they're doing like, big plates and they're doing, your abs are made of the same thing as your bicep. There's no difference. It's made of the same fucking thing. It's muscle. Okay. So if you start doing a lot of resistance ab work, your waist is going to get thicker. You will thicken the abs and you will thicken your whole fucking waist. So if you're on steroids, if this is going to grow, that's going to grow. Okay. So he might just have really thick abs from doing a lot of babanya and do a lot of ab work. Plus, he's got no body fat. I don't know if he really has ab implant. Look, here I go. I'm very easygoing. I give everything the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? I like to, that's just the way I am. I'm built that way. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I look at people as good before you prove to me that you're an asshole. So that's me.
Brian says Gregg is a living legend.
Only in Gregg's own mind. But thank you, Brian.
Miss Bell said, "What's up, guys? What's up, Miss Bell?
What's up, Miss Bell? How we doing?"
Grunge 77 said, "Liver King takes care of his family, though." Well, that's
yes,
a catch-22. That's a catch-22. You take care of your family, but you threaten to kill somebody or beat him up.
Joe's right. He does take care of his family, and I appreciate that about the Liver
That's
King.
Good
I
about
look
him.
at that. But at the other side of the coin, you shouldn't be forcing your family to eat balls. Those kids need a good box of M&Ms or something like that. Baby Ruth bar, a good fucking McFlurry from McDonald's or something, or a nice slice of fucking pizza. To sit there. And I don't believe that those kids don't eat that because both of those kids have fucking some serious acne on that mug.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's fine. That's nothing against the kids. Those kids are nice boys. I can see it. Yeah. But, I just think kids be kids. If you want to sit around and eat fucking liver or a fucking dead carcass of something, roadkill, whatever it is, that's on you. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I do think he loves his children and he loves his family. And I do give him credit for that. But, there comes a point of time. Listen, you ever watch the movie Carrie? The mother was very religious. She was so religious that she tried to wash the devil. They pour boiling water on a fucking kid and it's scrubbing the kid with fucking steel wool to get the devil out, cleanse. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Pray to the Virgin, pray to the mother, and you're like, wait a minute, now you're getting a little over, what happens is sometimes you become so over the top that you're almost detrimental to the family. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm sure it didn't make the kids feel too good to see their father getting arrested and then see him in his spin, like, they're telling the cops there's 12 tenants, 11 actually, but there's 12, there's a 12, or whatever the fuck he was saying to the one cop, and the cop's like, yes, okay, good, get the fucking cuffs now,
Yeah, Greg says he's a good guy. He probably is a down-to-earth
I do think he's probably a good guy, but I think he's caught in a funk. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think he's caught in a funk.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Listen, I know this is going to kill a lot of you guys. I'm going to say this one, and I know I just finished telling you how I give everybody benefit of the doubt, but I do believe that Michael Hearn's natural. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to hear this, but he's been the same size since the 1980s. He's a big guy, but he's not like fucking humongous. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's not like, like super juiced. Like if the size of him, he's tall, and I know. Lee Priest is my good friend, and Bob Bonham was my best friend at one time, before he died. And they both knew him very well, and they both told me, listen, no, he's natural. I know him for a long time. Lee told me he's not. So I take their word for it, and I believe that. And I've talked to Mike O'Hearn, he's definitely, he's a freak, but he's also been that way. The guy lives bodybuilding all day, all night. I believe he's natural. If he took steroids with his genetics, the way he looked, even in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? He looks the same. He's just more, muscle maturity. But that fucking guy could be 350 pounds if he wanted, if he was taking like all kinds of shit. Now, I don't know if he takes TRT or not. That's none of my business. But, that's not like being on a cycle because I'm on TRT and it does nothing. I can go off it or on it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing changes in the body. The only thing is the Bishuli God gets harder. I feel better, don't get joints pain or ache pains, but I don't notice any difference on the body because it's such a small amount and I abuse the shit out of that stuff.
Yeah. Mike G said, Greg, I hate liberals. Don't be a Momo. You're retarded if you think cops would go and arrest someone for verbally threatening a non-famous citizen. Go get work on my arm again.
No, listen to me. Listen. Take it, Mike, take a chill pill, simmer down. Relax. I'm not saying that you're liberal, but when you said that stuff, you said it's because it's Trump. If it was Biden, it'd be a lot worse. Okay. And yes, if you're a famous person, Mike, if you're a famous person and somebody threatens you, it's escalated. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they are used to this shit. They all have fucking stalkers. Katy Perry, they have so many stalkers. You think he's the only guy to threaten Rogan? No, but he actually flew and he made big statements and was shooting guns and all kinds of
guns
stuff.
in his hand making
It has nothing to do with the fact that Rogan was friends with Rogan. Rogan also supported Bernie Sanders. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that. So you don't have to get like, crazy on me and shit. So take it easy. I got you, Mike. We're good. There's no problems here. Okay, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. It has nothing to do with him being friends with Trump. Trust me on that. The government don't like Trump, and don't tell me where he runs the law enforcement, because that they still trying to fucking get Trump's ass.
Yep. Johnny Depp said steroids age some people badly.
Yes, they do, Johnny. But the thing is, you got to know when to go off that shit and call it a day. You know what I mean? That's like what I was just talking to Joe about it, George. You're 50, going to be 50 years old. There comes a point in time where, okay, your boxing days are over. Now you're in the next level. Now you're in the next. You have a chance to be like Big Willie, in with people like Dana White, UFC, that maybe even start. Maybe Dana tells you, I want you to run the boxing division, and I'm starting, and all this shit. And now George is running the fucking whole boxing division, and he's the commissioner and all. You have a chance to do all that shit. Forget about getting back in the ring. Those are days where, you understand? Well, same thing with bodybuilding. There comes a time where if you're not going to compete and be Mr. Olympia, there's no reason to be the biggest guy at the mall. Do you understand? There's no reason to still take Tren, IGF, growth hormone, insulin, all these other fucking things, Cytodrin, fucking Cytomel. There's no reason for that shit. That days are done. If you're going for Olympia, but some of you guys just want to train and get jacked to walk around and be Mr. Mall, be the biggest guy at, big men on campus. And that's no reason for that. There comes a time I could do that shit, bro. And I could be humongous if I wanted. I'm a hyper responder. But then, I might die. You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. Small says Liver King looks like a homeless guy.
He does. He does. He's the richest homeless guy on the planet. That guy's got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. John Mancini, the family looks malnutritioned.
Nah, they look healthy. I don't believe that they're sitting there eating all that shit. I believe when the camera's off, you understand what I'm saying? You only see what the camera shows you. You don't know. Yep. The camera's only, you see an hour out of their day at the most, and that's all put together. You don't fucking know, right? We don't know what the hell they're doing for the rest of the day. They might be eating Snicker bars, like this, watching like all these other teams. We don't know.
We don't know. Brian said not everyone, but Bana affects people differently. It does.
Yes, it does. It does affect her. But the one thing we all have in common, it comes a time where it's okay, quit time. You know what I mean? There comes a time where you have to just think about, I'm only on hormone replacement. Okay, 200 milligrams once every 10 days. If I do anything more than that, I'm scared shit. I can grow. I can start getting jacked again. But I'm afraid, I've already had throat cancer. I've already had the fucking, I've had liver problems because of the, not liver problems. I had a problem with the liver because the stones that I had, the ERCP backed up, the fucking shit went into my liver, the what do you call it, the bile. So that's why I had to take my gallbladder out, because the stones blocked the way, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I don't need to fucking any more problems. So there comes a time where it's a wrap.
Yep. Liver King versus the gallbladder king. That'll be you.
Here you go. Shit, Joe, the gallbladder. The only thing is I don't eat gallbladders. Imagine eating a gallbladder, you spitting out a stone. Oh, it is another one.
John Soley, guys, he's on a lot of drugs. That's why he looks like shit. Thank God he has some sort of tan.
John, I agree with you. You know why? He's got the lines in the face too. Guys that do a lot of growth hormone. I think that's according to that more plates, more dates, dude. I think he was hitting a lot of growth. And I noticed my friends, even when they start taking growth, the whole face changes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. John Mancini, that was a great documentary, Greg. I just finished watching it yesterday. I think the Ocean Gate documentary he's talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the Ocean Gate, or you're talking about the Liver King?
Or maybe Liver King. I don't know which one. I think the Ocean Gate one.
I watched both. Joe turned me on to the Ocean Gate. I actually saw it before. Just as Joe said it the same day, I actually saw it that day. But saw that it was out. And then Joe told me. So I said, you know what? Joe told me to watch this, so I'm going to watch it. And it was a great video. But go ahead.
Let's see. Grun said Liver should make a comeback story about mental health and such. Okay, maybe apologize to Joe Rogan. Yeah, that's a start. I think that would be fine.
I think they'll listen. You already got your fame. What the fuck do you need? What more do you need? You know what I mean? It's the old saying: poor man want to be rich. Rich man want to be king. The king ain't satisfied till he rules everything. There comes a point in time, like, where are you going to go from here? Do you understand? I get the whole reinvent yourself, but you already hit the fucking high note. You don't have to fucking do anything. You've already set your family is set for life. So was your ancestors, your children's children. I think that guy's worth over $100 million. I think he had that kind of money before he even did all this. He was supposed to be an executive or some shit like that. So, there comes a point in time where when's enough?
Yep, John. So I said, guys, can't you get sick from that raw?
Yes,
yeah, I'm sure you can.
Johnny, when I was young, I used to eat raw eggs. Remember watch the Rocky, he put the raw. They used to tell you don't do that shit, because you can get salmonella from that shit. All you need is an egg with a crack that you don't see in it, and it's been sitting there a little bit. A little bacteria gets in there. That's why they tell you got to cook the meat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. John Mancini, I would rather eat it cooked, not raw, unless sushi. You like sushi, Greg?
Dude, no. Joseph, I have a friend that had sushi, and he got a tapeworm. And if you read this, if you sort of, I think I told the story many times, but he was shitting, and he told me he had a bad stomach for literally 6 months. And finally, one day he was shitting, and he said he looked down, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm fucking dying on the bowl." And he thought he shit a piece of his intestines out, right? But then he saw it moving a little bit, trying to go back up the ass. And he was like, "Oh, fuck, this is a fucking tapeworm." So he grabbed it and he pulled it. And he pulled out about 9 feet until it snapped. And then the rest went back up his ass. And then he went to the hospital and they took out like another 8 or 9 feet. And it was from him eating sushi.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I don't know. Luciano said, I read years ago that people back in the 1800s would eat cooked animal testicles. And that was said to be the first steroid.
I don't think that's a real steroid. Listen to me. If if chicks fucking swallow Spakim, does that mean that she's taking testosterone? I don't know. I don't think it's not like steroids sit in your balls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like testosterone sits in your balls. You know what I mean? Yeah. Your hypothalamus makes testosterone. I don't think it works like that. I really don't. I mean, they used to eat all kinds of shit. Eat the heart because of the warrior. You get the strength of the warrior. Eat the brain. I mean, it's just if your body sees it as a source of protein. That's what it sees it as.
Yep. Grudge 77 says, I'm sure he's having problems, but he's getting slammed by the media.
Well, you know what happens? There are some people like chicks, okay? Like when you see, you ever see what's her name looks like right now?
Pamela Anderson
and shit, like they're washed up, bro. And they were once the hottest, they were the BMOC, big man on campus. They were a hot chick. Everybody loved her, you know what I mean? Now, guys don't, she can go in a club, but some guys let her, but she's not the fucking, she's not the king of the hill anymore. Some people can't take that. You understand? I'm not getting the hits. I used to get fucking 1 million hits a week. I'm only getting 500,000 a week. And they can't take that. Did you ever see the video, Joe, with a chick?
Mm-hmm.
That was some influencer, and she lost her channel because she pushed that woman off the fucking, made a woman jump off the fucking bridge off that fucking thing. And then, she lost her fucking TikTok channel or whatever it was because of that. And she lost millions of followers, and now she's not making any money. And she actually went to the building and she was banging on the doors. And you've got to reinstate my channel, please. I didn't mean it. It was an accident. And she actually went to the building, because there's people who can't take that shit. And it could be the fact that he's not, he's been exposed. He's not selling supplements like he was. He's not getting the hits that he was. People are writing you fraud, you fake and shit. He might not be able to handle that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not saying that's it. I'm saying it could be that.
Mm-hmm. But he does seem like a very loving person.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I actually don't think the Liver King's a bad guy. I just think he's a lost soul.
He's got some.
We should all feel bad. He's a lost soul. I know some of you I don't give a fuck. I don't give fuck him. I hope he dies. I'm not that kind of a guy. It's just not in my DNA to be that way. I'm a schmuck. I told you, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But he did stupid shit, and I just think that he has issues. I think his family should really come out and say, listen, this is enough. Maybe go out to the media so he can get some help. You got to shoot his ego down, because that ego can't take the fact that, again, I'm Pamela Anderson. I got these big implants, but they're on a saggy body now, and my face ain't what it was, and, I can't pull in guys the way I used to, and I'm not getting the love that I used to get. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be the new girl in town, guys. That's what's happening. The chick who's making a lot of do-re-mi right now on the OnlyFans, in fucking 10 years, she's going to be Sunday's news on Monday. It's like looking at the old Playboy. When you first got it, you were horny. You jerked off 3 times to it. Then after a while, you're looking at it, you're like, I can't even get a hard on from this shit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You need the new issue.
CA said, do you think Dave is enjoying the single life, potentially laying down the pipe with a new client of his?
Oh, I think Dave's loving his single life. I'm not going to get into too much of that, but just let's put it this way. I think Dave loves it. I would, I guess, if I was cooped up and I had a, wacky shit going on over there, I think who wouldn't? You know what I mean?
Yep. Knight Rider says Lee likes to load the gun, then sit back and watch other people take the blame for things.
You mean Lee Priest?
I think he's talking about, yeah.
Oh, Lee's a good guy. Lee's fun guy to be around. He's crazy.
Hey, Greg, did Dave really think that Larry took his client? Are there issues between them?
Oh,
who's that?
Who asked that?
AR. You might want to skip that one.
Let's just say it's not a happy situation. Larry is not happy with that. And it's just, Dave shouldn't have put that out there like that. You just don't put that out there like that. You don't know. Larry didn't steal his client. He didn't steal her. That girl was, let's just say Larry helped her. And if it wasn't for Larry, she might,
maybe if someone wasn't helping you.
Let's just leave it at that. I can get myself in a lot of trouble. I'm friends with all these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I tell you what I know and all this other shit. The girl's a nice girl. She's a very nice girl. Very pretty. Let me tell you something. I'm not saying it because I know the girl or whatever, but she should have won hands down. That girl had some fucking presentation up there. She had that ass that I would like to fucking just like make a fucking 3-course meal. You know what I mean? I would just like bury my face in that ass and eat that shit for like an hour straight. She could fart right in my face, and I convinced it would smell like fresh baked bread. But she should have won that show easily. She didn't win. She came in second. The girl that won should have never won. I'm not getting in the middle of all the Dave and Larry stuff. I think that needs to settle. Let that shit settle down. But Larry's a great guy, and I can tell you this. Larry definitely helped the girl a little bit, like gave her some good advice, which she needed at the moment.
Yep. Grunge 77, true, but his wife is encouraging what he's doing. Is that, I don't know.
Whose wife? Oh, you're talking about the liver king.
Yeah, I didn't know. Of
course, listen to me. If you're making fucking big scuttle, hundreds of thousands, plus she loves him. You got to stand by your man. I got to give the wife credit. I know that she's gotten involved, told Johnny Bravo, you're a piece of shit and all this stuff. That's because Johnny put that out there. Johnny put that out.
Yep.
Okay, but that's the wife. Okay, and it's she's standing by her man, bro. You know what I mean? I understand that.
Yeah.
But there comes a point in time where you got to see, listen, my man is about to fucking fall off this mountain. He's about to jump, but he's going to fall off the bridge and he's going to kill himself. So now I got to intervene.
Yep, you got to intervene, do something. Natalia, how you doing, Natalia? Hi, everyone.
Natalia, what's going on, Natalia? How you doing, hon?
Brian says, my favorite stories from Greg is the sushi tapeworm.
Oh, that's the tree. Oh, you know that story already. Yeah, my friend, he pulling that shit out of his ass. It fucking went back up there, and he wound up having to go, bro, stay away from sushi. Do you ever see the video of Evan Centopani, Joe, where he's got the fucking cod steak? It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's over there with fucking tweezers pulling out worms and shit. And I'm like, bro, I don't care if you fucking pulled that, every one of them we think you pulled that. I don't care if you cooked that shit and whatever. I ain't eating that shit.
No.
That's it. I'll be vegan. I'll go back to that place in Alabama and eat that poop sandwich.
Yep. P. Wild said, does BPC 157 affect your heart? Also, Greg, what would you do if you went to Thailand like John Jones and thought his situation?
I don't know John Jones' situation. I don't know enough about BPC 157, but I do know that the people that I know that have taken it all swear to God it's changed their shit. I do know that. I do know that. I have a few friends. I got a baseball player that I know that shoots it in his shoulder because he had a bad shoulder. I just know,
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, I do know that supposedly it works, but you got to get it from the right. You can't just listen when you're buying shit like that. You can't go and bargain shit and just say, oh, well, it's cheaper on this website. You know what I mean? You got to go it's more expensive at a place like Titan, but you know that you're getting legit shit. I'm just telling you for a fact, everybody I know that's legit gets there.
Yep. John Jones retired, and it was funny because my brother was on last week saying that the fight was done between him and Aspinall. If you saw Dana White put out a video, said the fight was done. He said the fight was done. It was going to happen in December, but John Jones decided to retire for some reason.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I don't know. Listen, I'm just going to tell you this. I like Aspinall, but I respect John Jones. I don't know if Aspinall can beat Jones. I know Aspinall's got all his game and he's really good, but John Jones reminds me of Muhammad Ali. I wasn't crazy about Muhammad Ali, to be honest with you, because he pulled all that race shit and all that stuff. But You'd never bet against him. I couldn't bet against John Jones. The guy is like a spider. I don't know if he can be beaten. To be honest, I saw the Gustafsson fight. I know he came close. But that fucking guy, you can't bet against him. You never know. You got to give him his props, whether you like him or not. He's not my favorite guy, to be honest with you. Not even close. But I would never bet against him. Long arms, long legs.
Luciano said, as Greg Valentino would say, quit fucking around.
Stop fucking around. That's you got to say it like that. Stop fucking around.
What else we got? Slyborg here says Liver King on all fours must be a style of fighting. The creepy crawler. You see that when he's
crawling?
My
god, bro, that actually gave me nightmares seeing that shit. That was
that was
what
weird,
was
man.
that?
Yeah, that's a good point, Slyborg.
Dude, I think, yeah, man, Cyborg. I think he's on drugs. Dude, just seeing that. What was that?
That's crazy.
What the fuck was that? That reminded me of the little girl that came up out of the well and shit like that. When I watched it, I was like, ah! You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck was I screaming like a girl in a horror movie? You know what I mean? Like, you see the girl coming out of the well, coming at you. Well, that's what I felt like when I saw him like fucking skirting around on the ground. I was like, what is that?
Who's this? Bruno Valentino. Greg has some great shitty stories.
Greg is. Thank you, Bruno.
Bruno Valentino, thank you. What else? Luciano says, if Greg was in my car and says he has to go, I'd immediately pull over the car, slamming my brakes.
You're damn right. Joe said the same thing.
You know,
Joe was like, if you have to go, let me know. I will pull over.
Yep. I didn't want my leather seats getting all fucking damaged while Lucia slept in the back.
Oh my God. I would have.
Natalia, how was Alabama, Greg?
It was definitely Alabama. It was good. You know, I had a good time because I'm with the guys, you know, but you know, it's stressful, you know, when you're doing that shit, you're on your feet, you know, it's a pain in the ass with all that shit, but it was good. I had a good time.
Everyone had a problem with
because I'm always with Jimmy. You know, Jimmy and I have been friends forever. So when we get together, you know what I'm saying? We laugh our balls off, you know, and it's fun, you know. George is absolutely crazy, you know, so it's fun, you know, and I get to meet Larry, who was great. And you had, you know, seeing what's his name? Fucking
Armand.
Oh, Armand Armand is so fucking big in person. You have no idea. I was very impressed with Armand. I was very impressed with him.
Okay.
Armand's size was huge. His fucking leg, Joe, his legs are, I mean, he's a big fucking guy. He is big. I asked him, how much you weigh? He was like, I think he was, you know, now when I was, I'm 5'6", and I was like 278. So I was once really bad. I used to wear size 4X, Joe. 4X.
Yeah. 4X.
Armand said, I think he was out there. He was around 270, almost 280. But he was big, bro. He was a big fucking guy, Armand. I mean, he was very big. When he stood next to Dave, they're close in height. I think Armand's a little taller than Dave, but he was like, you know, he was very big. Dave's not big like that anymore, but Dave's still very hard, very veiny. You know what I mean? Romano's very veiny too.
Yeah.
Very veiny.
John Soldy says, hey guys, pain pills are the worst. Been on and off of them for the last 10 to 12 weeks. They got me so depressed. Oh, I'm glad I'm off them. Be careful with those, John. Be careful with those, bro.
Don't do that shit, bro. Stay away from that shit. I know maybe you're in pain now. Just, you know, fight it, bro. Fight. You're a tough guy, bro. Fight through it. You know what I mean? Fight through it. It's going to hurt now, but it's in a lot of that's the brain. Okay. The brain is creating a lot of that pain because it wants that drug. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get through that, like, you know what I mean? That threshold. Once you get past there, all of a sudden you're going to notice the pain's going to go away on its own. John, don't do that. Don't. Because, you know, when I was locked up in jail, one of the craziest shit I saw, okay, was seeing people kicking heroin and pain shit. The fucking vomiting and shit these guys would do. I mean, they would stand and fucking vomit 6 feet. It was fucking crazy, Joe. You know, I'm just saying, when you get dependent on that, and you ever get in a position where you can't take it anymore, like you're in jail or something, and they're not going to give you that shit, you're going to go through hell. You are going to go through, just don't do that shit anymore. John, fight through that shit. Seriously, you can do this. I know you can. Just go through it, you know, just keep remembering, man, you'll fuck this shit.
Grunge 77, the kids seem a little robotic.
They do, you know, John, Grunge, you're right. Is it Grunge or Grudge?
Grunge 77.
Yeah, listen, Grunge, you're right. You're right. They do seem a little robot, but I think it's because they're playing they're playing along. You know what I'm saying? They almost smile at times, like when they're like, the father's like, listen, these are the 5 tenets and they're like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, okay, when you're done, turn the camera off so I can eat my fucking Snicker bar. You know, I play my video game, you know.
Ruben Sanchez said someone should call CPS on Liver King for making his son eat a raw dick.
You know what, Ruben? Listen to me. I understand what you're saying, but it's all shtick, I think. You know what I mean? I get it. If he was really doing it and the kid was like, I don't want to eat that shit, stop, then I'd say, okay. But the kids are going along with it because I think, like, you know, they're like, look, we're getting paid, you know, the whole bit. You know, family's making it. They almost do it with a smile. Watch the movie. The kid's like, okay, yeah, we're going to eat it. How does it taste? Good. And they're just like this, with a, like, you know what I mean? Like you could see. So I don't think they're being abused. I don't think that at all.
John Mancini said, did you guys hear about the Michael Ahern and Chris Cormier incident? Hopefully they're just rumors.
No, I didn't hear about that. I think they're friends, though.
What is it,
I'm friends. I know both of them. You know, Michael Ahern's a good guy. Chris Cormier is a great guy.
Yeah, I know Chris.
I know Chris. I didn't hear about that.
I didn't even heard about whatever it is.
Chris, I talk with Chris a lot on you know, through text, everything. I'll
177, protect Joe Rogan at all costs. Well, Joe Rogan didn't do anything.
Joe Rogan doesn't need protect. Trust me. Joe Rogan, you'd make a big mistake. Joe Rogan's a master hunter. He's a fucking firearms expert. And he's badass with his fucking hands, bro. Trust me. You don't need any help. As a matter of fact, that would be the mistake of the century for the Liver King.
John Solly said, Mike G, get info straight. Liver King turned himself into the police. They didn't come for him.
Right. You know, thank you, John Saldy. He's right. The Liver King actually turned himself in because I think he knew. And I wouldn't be surprised if the wife said, what are you doing, Brian? You're going to get yourself, you're either going to get killed or, you know, I don't know what the hell that was all about. You know, that's why Dave thinks that this is all a hoax, that the Liver King never wanted to go through with it. You know, that the charges will eventually be dropped against him and that this was just like a hoax to maybe hope that him and Joe Rogan could make it in a ring or something. But Rogan ain't going to do that.
No, it don't. 477 said that is true that Rogan is on another level of fame compared to Liver King.
Oh, God, you're not even going to compare that. You're not going to compare that. You know what I mean? It's a different thing. Liver King, it's a YouTube guy. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan is a media sensation. You know?
Doesn't Rogan have bodyguards or he's into martial arts? Well, he does have guards when he's in going through like, you know, crowds at the UFC.
I think he is.
But everyone does. But I don't think walking around going to shop right.
I think there's bodyguards there too. There's a security factor too. I think I think he hangs out with guys too. That, you know, they can all handle themselves. Trust me.
Yeah. John Mancini. Yes, Ocean Gate was the documentary. That was a great documentary, wasn't that, Greg?
Bro, that was a phenomenal documentary, dude. I'm into all that shit. You know, when I was younger, I used to want to be like a marine biologist. I was into all that shit. That shit's like fucking serious shit, though.
Why would that guy do that? I don't know. Why was his ego just to go down there?
But know that all that shit, you're down here and you hear that submarine cracking and shit, and you're like, dude, the first thing I'd be like is like, get me the fuck out of here. And he's down there going up. That's normal.
They saying that you know, when it imploded, that their body and their lungs exploded basically from inside out.
I think it imploded. I don't think it exploded. It imploded means I think it just sandwiched, almost like if you
I think their lungs imploded.
Yeah, I think everything they almost flattened out like pancakes.
Yeah, like pancakes. Yeah, the whole thing because they couldn't find any body parts from them. But at that, you know,
they didn't find anything, right? They just totally disintegrated. I think.
Yep, just boom, shark bait. That was it.
Little chunks of meat in the fucking water. That's it.
That's it, man. But it was a good documentary. Yeah, intimate. P. Wild said, like Joe Rogan, but all the jiu-jitsu sell is a bit overrated. I've been in the martial arts gyms and only gyms that were very biased where the jiu-jitsu places almost cult brainwash style.
No, he's really a legitimate black belt. I mean, I've seen him do shit with like real fucking UFC guys. I mean, he was actually doing shit where he has a way of kicking because he's like a double black belt in fucking Taekwondo. And he has a way of kicking where he stomps forward. He doesn't kick. He steps almost. I can't explain it to you. I saw him even with what's his name there? Fucking oh God, what's his name? The French guy from fucking Canada. What the hell's his name? JP. What he has got like initials. What? Pierre. Oh fuck Christ's sake! You know who I'm talking about? He's fucking superstar. He was showing him. What does that say? What about the Tiger King? What the hell's that? Is that a guy that lays around with tigers?
I know. My brother George is reporting. Is there at UFC live?
Aspinall
is there with him. Wow.
Tell him.
Very good.
Yeah, Aspinall's there, but I don't. I don't know if he could take John Bones, George. You know, that would be a really good fight. Listen, you don't bet against John Bones Jones has long arms, long legs. That's people think like, you know, like stubby fucking heavy arms. No, fucking, I'm telling you something. He's like a spider, that guy. You can't bet against him. It'd be like betting against Muhammad Ali back in his prime. You can't do it.
Yeah, you're
what else
right.
is George saying? I think there's other things he's saying.
George said Aspinall also said Jones is not afraid of him. He's got a lot going on.
Jones is not afraid of him. He's got a lot going on. Yeah, I think, you know what it is? I think John Bones Jones has a bad private life. Like his private life is not good. And I think that's part of it.
George said Rogan has visible and non-visible security, saw firsthand, same as Dana.
Okay.
Yep. So we know that they're there with, you know, that
right.
Rogan is Taekwondo.
Rogan is Taekwondo. That's what I said. He's a master. He's like a second degree, a third degree black belt. But he has what's that guy's name, George? What the hell's
GPS? GSP.
GSP or whatever the fuck his name is. That guy. He was showing him how to kick in like special way, like a unique way to kick. Instead of kicking like guys will kick straight out like this, the out kick, the straight where you actually kick out like this. He claims to stomp. He'll stomp on your mid like it's I saw the whole thing where he explained, but he's a legitimate fucking fighter. I mean, you know, he fought jiu-jitsu 10 years before he got his black belt, you know, from 10th Planet and what's his name? Bravo over there doesn't just give out.
No.
You know what I mean? He won't just give it out. He's a bad dude too, Bravo.
Yep. All right, Greg, we've been over a little bit over an hour now, so we're going to wrap it up, but thank you guys.
Best guy here? Best guy here is Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping. That's your brother George is saying that down there.
Michael Bisping and George, he talked to him. Nice guy. They knew George.
Bisping is a bad dude, bro.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy getting his fucking eye yoked out and still fighting. Nobody knows he's fighting with one eyeball.
Yeah.
I have a bad eyeball. I can only imagine what the fuck, bro. I give him props for that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Greg. I will talk to you in a little bit. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Biggest Momo.
And George, good luck out there, my brother.
George, take care of business out there, right?
Take names, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Thank you, everyone. We love you guys in the chat. Thank you.
Love you guys. Love you.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.